All right, so welcome and good morning. So we just need a few blocks today, and we're going to get started. So we'll start lying down, but not on any blocks. Come down onto your mat. Pausing a moment, letting the weight of the body rest into the earth. Couple deep breaths, letting go of the rest of the day. You can have your legs bent, you can let them slide out to straight here. Inhale, nice long exhale. Letting go. And then at the same time, settling a little more deeply into your body, into this moment right now. One more breath. And then we'll bend the knees, pulling the knees into the chest. And then just give those thighs a little wiggling around in the hip joints. You can hold on to the knees. You cannot hold on to the knees. Whatever kind of shifting around you want to do. Squinging in your hip joints, as it were. All right, and then we will finish with that. We'll come to floating Baddha Konasana, reaching inside the legs, holding on to the ankles or the shins. And we have the big toes reaching toward each other as the knees reach wide. Inhale and exhale with a little more intention pouring out through the inner thighs. And then let's extend those shins up so we're in a happy baby. So you can be holding the ankles or shins, maybe hands on the thighs. Breathing out through the inner thighs, through the knees, but then we also have a little press up through the feet toward the ceiling, a little more drop down through the knees toward the floor. Be a little rocking side to side. Letting your breath gently ease those hips more and more open. And then extending the shins out, heading towards straightening the legs. You take your hands underneath for a little support if you want. Be patient. Maybe your legs are not going to fully extend at this point. It's only a couple minutes into the class. And inhale and exhale, pouring out through the heels or pouring out through the toes. You can always back off a little, put a little bend in the knees again, unclench your jaw or anything that was getting a little stress, and then maybe extend the legs out once more. And we'll take a few more breaths here. And then folding those legs back in. Setting the feet on the floor, sliding the legs out to straight. Taking a big stretch overhead with the arms. Long and flat along the floor. And then we will make our way up to sitting. And sitting in Sukhasana with crossed legs. And using those arms alongside, give a little lengthen up. If there's still something that needs squinging out, do some squinging here. And then we'll let the hands rest on the knees. Inhale and exhale, pouring down the sides of the neck off the tops of the shoulders, long through the center line. And we're breathing, slowing things down, coming a little more fully into ourselves in this moment. And reaching out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Breathing the arms all the way up, inhale and exhale, breathing them down. And then let's just breathe up through the right arm. So I'm being the mirror image here, breathing up through the right arm, up and over to the left, into the side bend. And a big lift up through the center, changing the cross of the legs. And then let's breathe up through the left arm, up and over to the right. And calming up. Let's do both arms up and down once again, evening out those two sides. And then calming forward and over, big round breaths across the back of the body. And coming up, unfurling the spine vertebrae by vertebrae, back up on top of the sitting bones. Inhaling and exhaling. And then let's slide the legs straight out in front in Dandasana. Coming forward any amount, maybe pushing with the hands on the legs or the floor. Inhale and exhale. Flattening the legs into the floor. Arming up, pulling the legs back into Baddha Konasana. Pressing down and out with the elbows, long through the top of the head. So I'm going to be the right-left mirror once again. And then bringing your hands behind you, take that left leg over, putting the left ankle into the arch of the right foot. Then a big lift up with the left arm as we twist to the right, left hand to the right knee, twisting right, Vajrasana. And lifting that left arm up to bring the left leg back out to Baddha Konasana. Deep breath there. And then hands behind, taking that right leg across, right ankle into the left arch of the foot, bringing up the right arm, twisting to the left, Vajrasana. And then lifting the right arm up, lifting the right knee up to come back to Baddha Konasana. And then sliding the legs out to Konasana, the angle pose. Coming forward any amount. Just like with the legs straight in front, you can push from behind. You can have hands on the legs or hands in front. Inhaling into the center of the body, exhale, pouring out. Back up on top of the sitting bones. Let's reach the arms wide and breathe the arms up overhead. I'm going to bring the hands down in Namaste, base of the wrists, the knuckles, the fingertips. Press your hands a little bit aggressively into each other as you draw down. And then soften, pulling the elbows back, shoulders down, thumbs to the sternum. Deep breath. And then a couple more breaths, really feeling the palms of the hands together. A little push and push. And there you are, strongly in the center. And then releasing the hands, bringing the legs into Baddha Konasana. And we'll do our Vajrasana, twisting again. Hands behind, left leg folds over, left arm does a big lift up, coming to the right knee with the left hand into the twist. And then left arm, left leg, lift up and over. Baddha Konasana for a moment. And then the right leg folds across. The right arm takes a big lift up and over. Right hand to the left knee into the twist. Vajrasana. And then coming back, picking up the right sides. Baddha Konasana. And then we'll take a little forward here in our Baddha Konasana. And come up. And let's come up in downward facing dog. So we've got some blocks, maybe, or maybe not. So if you have two blocks, putting a block at each end of the mat, we're going to be doing triangles and then some triangles facing the back. So you might want a block there for the triangle. Meanwhile, here we are, downward facing dog, walking the dog or anything else you want to do here. And then finishing up with whatever you're doing, being in the best downward facing dog of this moment, just feeling your breath. And then we'll lengthen forward to the plank. So we're going to do a vinyasa and end up back in child's pose. So you can come along with my kneeling plank version or any version you want. All right, so here we are in the plank, starting to bend the elbows, pulling them back in chaturanga, and then when you need to, setting the knees down for kneeling plank, and continuing coming up in upward facing dog, maybe on the knees or maybe suspended, pausing here a couple breaths. And then we'll all set the knees down, a little cat-cow rippling, and pulling back into child's pose. Deep breath into the back of the body. And so let's do that once more, now that we kind of know what we're doing and maybe gotten a better idea of where our body is this morning. So here we are, downward facing dog. Coming forward to the plank. Starting that lowering chaturanga and then letting the knees touch down. Continuing with a little more control into the upward facing dog, maybe on the knees, maybe suspended. A couple breaths here. And then setting the knees down, couple cat-cow ripples. Pulling back into child's pose. Unfurling the spine, coming up into simplified Virasana, along through the top of the head. And we'll do a Ustrasana camel pose. So let's ascend onto our knees, bringing the arms up overhead. We lift up lots of space. And then up and over, starting with the front body yawn, and maybe carrying your hands around to the sacrum, possibly the heels, though probably not. Inhaling up the front of the body, exhale, pouring down the back. And then also here, we've got an inhale coming up the back of the body. And the exhale just deepening you. I'm not quite sure where that flows for everyone. Sometimes I feel like it goes out my head, sometimes down the thighs. Drawing that strength up into the back of the body, supporting your back. All right, let's come up. Reaching the arms up, really pull the abdominal muscles back into that lower back as we descend back to simplified Virasana. Deep breath, and we're going to make our way back to downward facing dog. Maybe a little cat and cowing along the way. And then here we all are, downward facing dog. And let's lift our right leg up, reaching long through the heel. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. And through to the lunge. Bringing that left knee down, coming up in a Vinyasa. So you can always keep your hands on the floor or on blocks rather than come up with the arms overhead. Breathing into that circle of breath. And then just a half circle around to Namaste, arms come down into Namaste, really feeling the hands. And we'll step forward into the concave back, halfway up. Lengthening out the front of the body and then pouring over. Breathing here, 3, 2, and 1. Coming all the way up to standing, front body yawn. And pressing the arms down long through the top of the head. Deep breath. And coming back over. Swooping the arms up. And diving over. Concave back, folding over. Let's step back with the left leg, so we're in the right lunge again. And once again, bringing that left knee down and Vinyasa. Inhale and exhale. And then we'll twist to the right, reaching wide with the arms as you twist right, and then hooking the left arm over the right outer leg. Twist a little more, and then bringing those hands around to Namaste. Namaste in the center. And then we will step back to the plank, continuing through the Vinyasa inversion and downward facing dog. And let's go around with our left leg, lifting the left leg up. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. And through to the lunge. And easing that right knee down. And Vinyasa on the left. And then breathing those arms down in a half circle into Namaste. And we'll step forward into the concave back. And folding over, taking a few breaths here in the forward bend. And then coming all the way up to standing, big front body yawn. And pressing the arms down, long through the top of the head. Inhale and exhale. And coming back over, big lift up. And diving over. Concave back, folding over. And we'll step back with the right leg. And bringing that right knee down. Once again, in Vinyasa on the left. And then we'll twist to the left, pulling wide through the fingertips, hook the right arm over, pull a little more, bringing the hands around to Namaste. Feeling that push and push that holds you there in the center, maybe deep into your twisting. And Namaste in the center. And then stepping back to the plank. Through the Vinyasa, any version. And then there will all be downward facing dog, or perhaps in child's pose. Taking 3 deep breaths. All right, and then off we go. Let's lift our right leg up. Bending the knee dog at the high fire height. Through to the lunge. And then we're going to turn to the wide leg forward bend. Turning to the left side of the mat. Feet parallel, legs straight. Prasarita Padottanasana. And then coming up on sort of tippy fingers or maybe your block, we're going to twist to the left. So I'm not being the mirror image, I'm doing my real right and left at this point. Twisting to the left, the back of the room, reaching up through the left arm, or maybe putting the left hand on the sacrum and lifting through the elbow if it seems like too much of a strain with the straight arm. And then bringing that left arm down, we'll twist to the right toward the front of the room. Reaching up through the right arm, maybe putting the hand on the sacrum, reaching through the elbow. Back to the center. And then we'll rotate the feet out, either heels in or toes out, or some combination into the elephant rider. Pressing those knees out, nice big inner thigh stretch. Now we're back to that. And then straightening up in the 3-pointed star. Hands come together overhead. Lift a little more, reaching down through the feet into the floor a little more. Pressing the arms to parallel, turning the feet to parallel. And then we will rotate the right foot out, right leg out 90 degrees and straighten that leg up. Reach the right arm to the ceiling. Think more reach to the ceiling than side bend, so you get lots of length on the right side, and then tilting out into the triangle. Trikonasana. Twisting to the left, miss. One more deep breath. And someone will grab hold of your left hand, pulling you up to standing, feet to parallel, and then we'll rotate the left leg toward the back of the mat out 90 degrees. Same sort of thing. Straighten up that left leg, reaching up through the left side, thinking more reach to the ceiling, the big side bend back. And then into the triangle. Inhale and exhale, tilting over. A little twisting to the rightness there, up through the right eye. And one more deep breath. And then on this side, we're going to come down to the lunge. Stepping back to the plank through the Vinyasa, downward facing dog. And so we're going to do the mandala pattern today where we go around in a circle. So we're going to be lifting our right leg up again. I'm going to end up facing the back of the room. And so I hope you'll be able to see enough with me facing the back of the room. We're doing more or less the same thing. Let's lift our right leg up again. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. And through to the lunge. Turning to Prasarita Padottanasana, wide apart feet pose. The wide leg forward bend. And then lengthening out on tippy fingers or maybe the block. So we're going to twist to the left, which is the former front of the mat, but not the one we just came from. Twisting left. And then bringing that left arm down, twisting to the right. As you can see, we're doing both sides. So if you did the other side, it doesn't matter so much because we're doing both sides. And back to the center. And then we'll bend the knees, turning the feet out, coming into the elephant rider. Straightening up into the three-pointed star. Pressing the arms wide, turning the feet to parallel. So we're going to be doing the right leg first again, rotating our right leg out 90 degrees. Straighten that leg, reaching up through the right side, lots of space. And then reaching out and over into the triangle, Trikonasana. And then you can stay here or maybe bringing the hands to Namaste. Lift up a little higher with the left arm as you reach around, bringing the left hand to the right. And then there's a press up with that right hand into the left to help. And then either your left arm is reaching back to bring you up or you're pushing the right hand into the left. Push yourself up to vertical, turning the feet to parallel. Extending the arms out again. Let's rotate the left leg out 90 degrees. And lengthening up that left side. And tilting out into the triangle on the left. So maybe this triangle is good enough for you today, or taking the hands to Namaste. Reach up through that right arm, reaching the right arm around, bringing the left hand up to the right, pressing the left hand a little up into the right to help support you. And this time, we're coming down to the left lunge, back to our original front of the mat. Stepping back to the plank, through the Vinyasa, downward facing dog. And taking 3 deep breaths here in downward facing dog. Coming down, sitting back in child's pose. Holding those knees in. And let's slide out onto our stomach into the Sphinx. Pulling back with the elbows, the hands, the fingertips. Letting that tailbone be heavy into the floor, a little reach through the leg. So this is it, just the Sphinx. Maybe a little lift of the elbows. Nice and simple. And then let's heal ourselves up to simplified Virasana. And just pausing here. So we're going to do that triangle mandala around, leading with the left leg. So I'm going to stay on this side, so I'll be coming around to face you with the Namaste hands this time around. All right, let's come up and downward facing dog. You can put in a through the Vinyasa or not. All right, so we will be lifting the left leg up. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrants. Through to the lunge. Turning to Prasarita Padottanasana toward the right side of the mat. And then lengthening out, making that spine as long and flat as you can. We'll twist to the right toward the back of the mat. And bringing that right arm down. Twisting to the left toward the front of the mat. And back to the center. And then elephant rider, rotating the feet out, bending the knees, giving a press out with the arms. Coming up to the three-pointed star. Lifting up through the fingertips. Reaching down through the legs so that we're radiating out from the center in three directions. And pressing the arms to parallel, turning the feet to parallel. Right, so we're rotating our left leg out, the leg toward the front of the mat. And lengthening up that left side, thinking more reach to the ceiling than big side bend back. And tilting out into the triangle, really reaching up through that right arm, almost twisting to the right. Tucking in with your breath. One more deep breath here. And then reaching back with the right arm, coming up, turning the feet to parallel. Breathe, rotating the right leg out, 90 degrees, leg toward the back of the mat. Bringing that right arm up, lengthening that right side out. Lots of space in that right hip joint. So we have lots of room to hinge over into that space in our triangle. And one more deep breath here. And then lunging down so we're facing the back of the mat, stepping back to the plank, through the Vinyasa. And then we'll be in downward facing dog, or perhaps in child's pose, taking 3 deep breaths. All right, here we go. Left leg lifts again. Lifting up the left leg. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrants. Through to the lunge. Turning to the wide leg forward. And then lengthening out to the spine, we'll twist to the right toward our former front of the mat, but kind of the back leg. And back to the center, twisting to the left toward the front of the mat where we came from. Back to the center. And into the elephant rider. And then up to the three-pointed star. Pressing the arms wide, turning the feet to parallel. All right, so left leg rotates out 90 degrees. Like straighten that leg, coming all the way up the left side. Think more reaching up, lots of space. Hinging over into the triangle. And then as we go to the Namaste, hands a little lift up through the right side, bringing the left hand up to meet the right, press the left hand into the right, long through the top of the head. And either reaching with the right arm or pressing the left hand into the right to come up to vertical, turning the feet to parallel, reaching the arms out. All right, here we go. Last time, rotating that right leg out 90 degrees. Lengthening up the right side. And then hinging over into the triangle, Trikonasana. And reach up through the left arm, bringing the left arm around, right hand comes up into the left, and you're bringing the arms to Namaste. Long through the top of the and then just down to the lunge. Stepping back to the plank, through the Vinyasa, and downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths in that downward facing dog. Once you get there, And come down, sitting back in child's pose. And up. And let us make our way back down to the floor once again. And we'll do the figure 4. Come down. Letting go. Letting the weight of the body rest into the earth. And then we will cross the right leg over the left, reaching through the triangle, pulling that in. Nice big round breath. And then having the hands behind that left thigh, extending the left shin any amount. Doesn't have to go to straight, doesn't matter if it's straight. We're going to circle the left ankle. Gooey circle 6, 5, 4. And finishing up with this direction, and then we will go the other direction, 6. Holding the left leg down again. One more deep breath in this figure 4. And then we'll switch legs. Disentangle those legs. Crossing the left leg over, reaching through the triangle, pulling the legs in. Using that breath to keep yourself present in your body. Keep your mind still here in your practice on your mats. And then having your hands behind the right thigh so you can extend that right shin out any amount. Big gooey circle with that ankle. 6, 5, 4. And then go in the other directions. And we'll finish up with that, folding the right leg down again, taking another deep breath, going into the figure four. And setting those legs down, and we will head to Shavasana. Sliding the legs out straight. Backs of the hands on the floor, arms a little bit away from the sides of the body. Inhale and exhale, closing your eyes. That breath. As you focus on your breath, as you feel the breath filling the body, maybe eventually, maybe for a few moments, you just become the wave of the breath. And gently breathing yourself back into your body, back into the room. Moving the fingers and toes, maybe circling the wrists and ankles. Stretching the arms up overhead. And we'll bend your knees. Gently make your way up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position with a long and spacious spine. In another moment, sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming. There we go.